to you, Mr. Baumann, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Stefan Kegebein. I'm very pleased to open this very good information session, and welcome Təbriz Əmmayev. We've, I think, not yet met in person, but I think it's high time to do so. And we all understand that this topic of renewable energy development in Azerbaijan is a very hot topic. And I say this not only with regard to the overall development worldwide or to the internal market. We all know that the energy price in Azerbaijan itself is quite cheap, it's quite low. And the more there is the question, of course, how much this renewable energy development could serve to secure Azerbaijan's role as an energy exporter. I think this is the most important question if we come across the topic of hydrogen energy and the potential we see in Azerbaijan. And then we have an eye on the infrastructure with the Southern Gas pipeline, and which is, I would say, still in a state to be even expanded in the future to get more capacity. So there is quite a lot good arguments to position in the future. That would be my topic for 2022, to position Azerbaijan as one of the future partners in hydrogen energy and hydrogen export to the European industrial markets. I think you have observed the environment, you have observed the politics. We have already some, let's say, agreements, more or less preliminary agreements, sometimes also more elaborated agreements on hydrogen partnerships. And I think Azerbaijan here is one of the missing links. We have a new government, we have a new federal government, and we see also that the economy minister from the Green Party will put a stronger access, of course, on this development and on these partnerships. And again, I would say it is, until now, it is quite underestimated what potential we have here in Azerbaijan. If we even talk about Australia as a hydrogen partner, I think it is even more convincing that Azerbaijan could here also play a very important role. Not only because it is close, but also because we can rely on an existing infrastructure. And therefore, I'm very excited about your presentation, Mr. Əmmayev, and I'm happy that we have with AREA again a operative agency which is exclusively dealing with that topic. We will also see the energy minister on the Berlin Energy Change Summit in 2022. So these are all very good parameters and very good signs for this partnership. And also I saw in the forum here our energy partner and gas trader Uniper. Also for Uniper, I think this is one of the future topics where we will be able to support German industries in Azerbaijan and support Azerbaijan with this new perspective for the German market and for German politics. Thank you very much indeed so far. And I hand over to Stefan Kegebein, right?
So thank you very much. I had just set a topic with my microphone, and would like to thank you for your introduction, Tobias Baumann. I just looking out because I guess we left Mr. Əmmayev. I hope he's again in the line.
I'm here.
Okay. Then it was a misunderstanding. Thank you very much for the introduction, and from my side as well. Welcome to our distinguished speakers and to the participants. So first of all, to Təbriz Əmmayev, the director of the Azerbaijan Renewable Energy Agency, and to Heinrich Gleisner from Notos Energy, a German project developer in the field of renewable energies. My name is Stefan Kergebein from the German Eastern Business Association, so a Berlin-based private business association with some 400 German companies as members. Some of them are here in the line as well, and we are covering a broader scope of countries that we call Eastern Europe, 29 countries, including Central Asia and the Southern Caucasus. And of course, Azerbaijan belongs to this group of our 29 partner countries. So we have a big number of participants today. That is good news and shows that the topic is timely, and then the interest seems to be high. That are good news for us. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Baumann, that we could organize this webinar together, Ostausschuss and AHK, so the German Eastern Business Association and AHK in Baku. And you already tipped the hot topics when it comes to renewables, hydrogen, and so on and so forth. I do not have to repeat it, just to underline the importance of the topic. Before I hand over the word to Mr. Əmmayev, I just want to ask you to mute yourself. I guess everybody did it so far. If you don't speak, if you want to speak after the presentation, please unmute yourself and switch on your video so that we can hear and see you. If you have questions during the presentation, please share in the chat board. We will take the questions after the two inputs. And now, without further ado, I would like to hand over the word to Mr. Əmmayev. I have to upgrade your status to presenter, and then you can start your presentation now. So please, Mr. Əmmayev, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Baumann, Mr. Kergebein, for introduction, and thank you for all organizers for arranging this event. Due to COVID, we are meeting online, but in the future, I believe that we will have such kind of meetings and seminars, webinars, let's say seminars physically. My name is Təbriz Əmmayev. I am representing State Agency for Renewable Energy Sources here among my capacity as a director of the agency. The agency has been established back in September 2020 under the Minister of Energy, and the main task in front of the agency is to create business enabling environment for private sector and to facilitate the deployment of renewable energy in the country. So with your permission, I will start with brief presentation, and while talking about the renewable energy development in the country, I would like to show some information visually. That's why we have prepared presentation. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Again, regarding the development of renewable energy industry in the country, as you know, notwithstanding with the fact that Azerbaijan has been known as an oil and gas country, the country takes green growth, green energy as one of the national priorities till 2030. And you know that early this year, to be exact, 2nd February of this year, national priorities of the social economic development for the social economic development of the country till 2030 have been determined, have been accepted, and among these national priorities, the 5th one is clean environment and country of green growth. And overall, these all national priorities are in line with UN Sustainable Development Goals. And within this national priority, we have two directions, and these two have, how can I say, bilateral impact on each other, as high quality ecological environment as well as green energy zone. So as I said, irrespective of the fact that Azerbaijan has ample hydrocarbon reserves and resources, but the country take to another direction. Of course, we know that oil and gas industry is backbone of our economy to some extent, but a new direction, which is in line with climate change goals and challenge, technological trends, etc. So green energy is a part of our top agenda for 2030. In addition to that, by 2030, the country has another target in terms of renewable energy to achieve 30% of installed capacity of electricity installed capacity, and nowadays the capacity is 17%, and to increase this one from 17 to 30%. And in addition to that, you know that in the past we had NDC regarding the reduction of the greenhouse gas emission by 2030, regarding 35%. Now, on the sidelines of COP event, Azerbaijan has extended its commitment in that regard. Now we have a commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 40% till 2050. In addition to that, you know that liberated areas has been determined as net zero zone, zero emission zone by 2050. So, in order to deploy renewable energy potential of the country, utilize this potential, let's say on the smarter way, the Minister of Energy has been working in different disciplines, and the main target is to use the potential and to utilize the potential and to increase the share of renewable energy in energy mix. Regarding the potential, the onshore renewable energy potential of the country is around 27 gigawatt, which is 4 times higher than our current installed capacity. The main one, almost 99% is wind and solar, and 90% is solar one. But we don't add here floating solar PV potential, which is around 1 gigawatt. And in addition to that, we have very good wind quality that could be used for offshore wind energy projects. And according to the initial estimation, offshore wind potential is around 157 gigawatt. If we just make it, if we provide breakdown of this one, 35 gigawatt of this potential is mainly shallow water one, and rest one, 122 for deep water areas. And this is overall snapshot of our current renewable electricity market, and current share is 17%, and as I said, the target is to increase this 17% to 30% by 2030. And in order to allocate the project within this decade and without significant impact on grid, with the involvement of consultant company, special capacities have been determined for different time horizon. And you know that by 2025, around 100 megawatt megawatt projects are expected to be online, mainly through solar and wind one. In addition to that, beyond 2026, around 6 megawatt project could be implemented, could be realized in order to reach 30% target and have smooth integration of renewable energy production into the grid. And you know, nowadays the major part of renewable energy installed capacity is hydro one, and we can add here some wind one and solar one as well as we have one waste to energy plant which is located in Baku. So in order to achieve the mentioned targets and to facilitate renewable energy deployment in the country, as I said, the Minister of Energy, with the in cooperation with other government units, state bodies, has been working in different disciplines regarding the development of regulatory and legal framework, regarding to identification of supporting mechanism that we can attract and we can accelerate the involvement of private sector into these projects, as well as development of rules for auctions, and I'm going to talk about this one. But in addition to this line of works, the Minister of Energy has been cooperating with different potential investors, partners, and nowadays we can see the results of this cooperation spirit, these efforts. So I'm going to talk about later. So regarding the regulatory and legal framework, and this year was one of the critical milestones regarding the development of renewable energy industry in the country. Summer, to be exact, in July, law on the usage of renewable energy sources in the production of electricity has been adopted. This is the first renewable energy law, and this law will give way to the realization of auctions, application of net metering procedures, and regarding renewable energy zones, identification and allocation of areas for renewable energy projects, etc. So, and based on this law, nowadays secondary legislation, secondary documents are being prepared regarding renewable energy rules for renewable energy auctions, net metering procedures, certification, and renewable energy information system. Apart from that, we have already exercised power purchase agreement and connection agreement. To some extent, we can say that we have standard templates for this type of main documents regarding the PPP projects, implementation of PPP projects in the field of renewable energy, and these standard templates have also been used for pilot projects for auctions, subject to the approval procedures, etc. Yes, we are working on that direction as well as
Mr. Mayev, sorry, someone in the line, there are some background noises.
Yes. That's why I'm asking.
Is it with you? Okay.
Not from my room.
Okay, someone else, please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, please continue.
Okay, with your permission, I would like to continue. So, in addition to that, some tax rebates are provided for investors regarding it's about investment promotion certificates, 7 years grace period, and different tax rebate. Protection of investment, we have special law regarding the protection of investment. According to the new renewable energy law, renewable energy developers, they have guaranteed offtake, they have guaranteed connection and priority in dispatching, etc. So this is another regulatory framework that nowadays are being applied to involve more private sector into the field. And according to the renewable energy law, we have two directions nowadays to realize renewable energy projects. One is auction, which is the priority way to some extent, but bilateral agreement is not excluded. It depends on the strategic importance of the projects in terms of timing purposes, in terms of location, and etc., in terms of production and supply perspective. Bilateral agreements could be implemented as well and subject to the special circumstances, etc. But we would like to create competitive market in the field of renewable energy. That's why nowadays we are actively working with different international organizations in order to realize projects through auctions. So before talking about some studies regarding the development of documents, other regulatory framework, we have 3 projects in pipeline nowadays, and you know that we call pilot projects with Aqua Power and Mastar. Early last year, implementation agreements were signed with Aqua Power and Mastar, respectively 240 megawatts for wind power with Aqua Power and 230 megawatt solar one with Mastar. And this year, another implementation agreement has been signed with BP for the construction of 240 megawatt solar power plant. and nowadays the works are being done, are being run within these implementation agreements, and during the execution of, as a result of execution of implementation agreements with Power and Mustard, these other project agreements have been signed during the end of the last year, late December. Investment agreement, PPA and TCA have been signed with Aqua Power, and April this year the same type of documents have been signed with Mastar, and total capacity of these two projects is 470 megawatts. And within the implementation agreement with BP, nowadays we are actively working regarding the identification of coordinates of the land, grid integration issues, and other types of analysis around the project. As I said, another direction for future projects is auctions, and with the support of EBRD, nowadays we are actively working towards the development of auction rules. And within this project, not only auction rules are being developed, as well as RFP standards, RFP, RFQ documents, and other types of documents are being prepared, as well as template contract drafts are being prepared within this project, and subject to the approval of auction rules, because in order to get the rules approved, we need to go through with some procedures, some approval gates, and the plan is to start implementation of first auction first half of the next year. And another direction is about the floating solar PV. As I said, actually, this is another direction, and we would like to assess the potential of our lakes and other water facilities that we can utilize in the PV potential of these facilities, of course, subject to solar radiation, irradiation in specific water facilities. With the support of ADB, nowadays we have a special project regarding which is called Regional Knowledge and Support Technical Assistance Floating Solar Energy Development Project. And within this project, ADB supports us regarding capacity building, assessing the potential of project, as well as 100 kilowatt pilot projects, let's say, power plant is being constructed nowadays in the Lake of Berkshire, which is close to our main stadium, as well as nowadays in cooperation with ADB, we are assessing the potential of the implementation of scale-up project around 50 megawatt. It could be in Lake Berkshire, as well as Mingechever Water Reservoir, and then nowadays we are actively cooperating with ADB in that regard, and in the future we believe that one auction could be realized for the purpose of using floating solar PV potential of the country. And another very perspective area is about offshore wind. The country, as I said, has very huge offshore wind potential, and we can use this potential. Even 10%, 20% of this potential will bring great results, and we can further increase our export capacity, and hydrogen production could be considered in that perspective. Caspian Sea is among very few water facilities overseas that have good wind quality, stable wind speed and quality, that in order to realize, in order to implement offshore wind potential, offshore wind projects. Within the cooperation with IFC, this year, April this year, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Minister of Energy and IFC regarding the identification of ways and development of roadmap in order to use offshore wind potential of the country. And within this roadmap, and nowadays we are actively working with IFC and technical consultant company in order to finalize the development of this roadmap. This roadmap will give clear recommendation about the capacity that we can utilize in order to make projects commercially attractive, which options we have, which in terms of capacity, how we can consider hydrogen production, how we can develop local content in order to make this type of projects more commercially sensitive. And within this project, one demonstration project analysis regarding the demonstration projects is being done as well, that we believe that this demonstration project and the results of desktop research will give a clear view about the potential of this industry, a potential of how to use their renewable energy. So as I said, and in addition to the offshore wind development of offshore wind roadmap, nowadays Minister of Energy has been inviting, let's say, potential investors, and nowadays we have special working group, internal working group, that we are in close collaboration and close discussion with different potential investors, and we observe great interest from big energy companies, and we invite other companies to consider this perspective as well. So we have two parallel works in the field of offshore wind, development of roadmap, as well as we have started to discuss realization of projects, business projects in the field of offshore wind. In addition to that, this year we have started cooperation with German Energy Agency, and DENA. DENA has been supporting us to identify and analyze market potential of decentralized renewable energy solutions, because this is another way how we can penetrate the market and how we see small scale applications, which is very important, because with the support of ADB nowadays we are working on the net metering procedures, and with the support of DENA nowadays we are developing cases where we may have how can I say more cases that we can use decentralized renewable energy solutions, and with the support of DENA 4 to 5 cases have been developed and assessed, analyzed, and we believe that within these cases I can provide some public buildings that which type of renewable energy solution, decentralized renewable energy solutions could be utilized, etc. Thanks to DENA, that within this project and with the help of this project nowadays, we can see apart from industrial scale projects, in which direction, in which cases that decentralized solutions could be considered in order to further utilize the renewable energy potential. And the last one, I would like to mention that we have another very big case regarding the establishment of renewable energy zone in the liberated areas. You know that Supreme Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President İlham Aliyev, has declared his vision about seeing green liberated areas as a green energy zone, and taking this strategic vision into account. The Minister of Energy, in close cooperation with international and local companies, as well as state bodies and government units, has been analyzing the international experience, and we have started cooperation with TEPSCO, how we can develop the concept and master plan that to achieve and to establish, let's say, green energy zone within within the liberated areas. And here main target is to use clean energy potential of the area, to apply energy efficient technologies and modern energy management systems and tools. You know that this area has been identified as net zero emission zone by 2050 on the sidelines of COP26 event. We have the country has declared its vision about this direction, about this strategic direction. So within this project, we have been assessing the potential, and I should say that the area has great potential in terms of solar and wind, and almost solar wind potential is around more than 7 gigawatt. And we have already started with BP to one industrial project with the capacity of 140 megawatt solar power plant, as well as nowadays we have ongoing project, ongoing RFI process for 100 megawatt in Laçın and Kəlbəcər region. And as I said, in order to achieve the establishment of green energy zone, more solar and wind projects to come in the future. And nowadays, with the help of the consulting company, we are assessing the electricity demand in short, medium, and long term, and how we can achieve and meet this demand with the realization of different types of green energy projects. Apart from solar and wind, the area has great hydro energy potential, and we have around, including Xudafərin and Qızqalası, we have around more than 300 megawatt. Two industrial scale projects, Xudafərin and Qızqalası, are planned to be online, let's say in 2023 or 2024. And in addition to that, more than 30 small hydropower plants are there and needs to be rehabilitated. And nowadays we are working on that direction. Almost three of them have already been restored with the total capacity of 15.7 megawatt, and one is under restoration nowadays. And already these small hydropower plants supply green energy to the region. Apart from electricity supply, within this green energy zone concept, different other green technologies are being considered. Mainly, it's about installation of rooftop PVs and at massive scale, almost depends on the energy supply scenario. But we believe that one of the core elements of this green energy zone will be internal production through green technologies, internal production of electricity for internal consumption through electricity, of course subject to the technical potential and commercial sensitiveness. In addition to that, within this green energy zone, another one key element is energy efficiency, construction of buildings, and in line with energy efficiency requirements, to have energy efficiency culture in other applications in terms of transport, industry, etc. Using electric cars and promoting the usage of electric vehicles in public transport and in private transport, street lighting with solar-based LED bulbs for street lighting, and circular economy, waste energy or waste treatment, waste management. This is another direction that will be considered within the green energy zone. That's all from my side. I tried to provide all information that we have regarding the renewable energy sector of the country. But in case you have any questions, in case you need further clarification, I am at your disposal. Please feel free to ask And thank you, German Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this event, and my pleasure to be here and to be with you talk about the renewable energy sector of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Əmmayev, for this in-depth presentation. I guess it was very interesting and relevant figures. I would, without further ado, before we take the questions, I may ask Heinrich Gleisner from Notus Energy for some 5 or 7 minutes input and assessment. And after this, we take the questions. I saw your raising hand, Mr. Oryov, so no one will get lost. So, but first, Mr. Gleisner, please.
Hello, good day. My name is Heinrich Gleisner. At first, I would like to say thanks that Notus can take part in this interesting event. I am advisor for the company Notus in the Eastern European area and the Baltic states. Notus is a medium-sized company in the field of development, construction, financing, and operation of wind and solar parks, and also active in electricity trading. Notus founded in 2001 by the CFO Heiner Röger and has now 200 employees. Our focus has been in Germany, but we have also projects in France, Bulgaria, Poland, Finland, Kosovo, Mexico, and since 2018 also in Ukraine with 3 projects over 300 MW. So my comment. As far as I've been able to inform myself beforehand, and as I can now take with me from this event, Azerbaijan is a very interesting country in terms of renewable energies, also for a company like ours, like Notus. The most important question for us as a medium-sized company in countries like Azerbaijan is the question of ensuring the framework conditions for investors and developers. That means in particular the legal as well as the political and of course the financial conditions, their safety and reliability. The investment guarantees, I don't know how it is in the moment with Hermes covers and so for Azerbaijan. Question I have 2 for this, for my understanding is renewable energy law, when it passed or it's updated, that I have not really understand. But what is a important topic for us after our experience in East European states like Bulgaria or now also in Ukraine, to find really well competent, informative, and really named official contact persons in the state sector that a company like Notus can start in a country, yes, because it's post-Soviet states with bureaucracy and centralized decision-making culture. It's different to many other countries. That's why this is for us a topic to discuss. The other things, I think it's for all companies the same, also for a company who works in the area of renewables. How is the behavior of local authorities and persons you have to work together with the problem with preparation of documents and the implementation of approval process and how it works such in reality. Yes, in such meetings it's very easy to speak about, but in reality we have seen a lot of problems, unclear responsibilities and uncooperative behavior with local authorities, it's a real problem sometimes. And I hope for Azerbaijan, I see that you are very interested to become investors in this area. That's why I mean it's interesting topic for us and for other companies too. And I think it's a lot of opportunities because when in Azerbaijan it's not a small country, and this process to change the energy into green energy, it's also a topic for such a country like Azerbaijan, I think. For us, for our company, we are really interested how the project, what you named, this Mastar and this Aqua project, how it goes further. Yes, you signed this contract, and now how is the status of such projects? We are interested in reality for projects from 150 MV and higher, because the efforts what we have to do, it's in such a country high, that why projects have to be not too small, I think. So that was at first what I can say about Azerbaijan after this what I have heard. I'm thankful to say thank on all participants, and maybe question we can speak.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gleisner, for this first comment. Mr. Əmmayev, I would suggest we had one other person raising the hand for a question. We will take this as well, and then we will give the word back to you. Are you fine with that? Okay, we had one colleague in the line, Mr. Uruyov. You had a question, so now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kagabain. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
You can. If Stefan is easier, you can.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stefan, and thank you very much for organizing this meeting. Thank you very much, Mr. Əmmayev, for a very detailed presentation. I'm from Total Energies, and we're also very ambitious about the Azerbaijani market. We stated our interest in high-level meetings, particularly in the meeting with head of state last week, where we said that we will be interested to invest into renewable energy in Azerbaijan along with our conventional business. My question is about the auctions which Mr. Əmmayev mentioned. I'd like to know what will be the size of the projects that goes to auctions, and there is another provision in the law which says it can be negotiated contracts as well. So how the government will differentiate these two tracks of the projects? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would suggest that we will have a first round of answers from your side, Mr. Əmmayev, and then taking the other question.
Thank you very much. So let's start with the first question. It's about the renewable energy law. Yes, the law has been adopted, not updated. This is the first time that we have renewable energy law. And in July this year, the law has been adopted, and you can find the law in Azeri version online. I'm not sure whether it's an English version there, but anyhow, you can reach to this document through internet. Now, regarding the contact, regarding coordination, as an agency, we are open for any type of cooperation discussion, and almost every day we have meetings with different types of companies and international companies as well as local companies, and we can provide contact in that regard. In the field regarding the renewable energy sector, you can approach to me personally as well as we will provide relevant contacts, and you can get these contacts. And regarding the status of the project with Aqua Power and Mastar, you know that subject to the investment agreement as well as PPA, we have timeline there, and according to the timeline nowadays, different works in terms of funding, in terms of preparation for commissioning, preparation for start of the construction are being done nowadays. So the projects go well in line with the project timeline, and hopefully in near future we will have a groundbreaking ceremony of both projects. Regarding the question by Mr. Orujov, yes, we have two directions. And regarding the first auction, the capacity, initial plan is 100 megawatt, and we will start with solar one. But this is indicative capacity for now. So we don't plan to go with the big capacity like 200 or more. You know that big capacity, it means that it is a little bit good to achieve scale, to be in line with the regulated tariff, etc. But the plan is to further support involvement of medium scale companies. We would like to go with 100 megawatt. Of course, 100 megawatt has low impact, low grid impact rather than 240 or 230 megawatt. But the idea is to use land efficiently and to have, let's say, around 100 megawatt. But this is, for now, this is indicative capacity. Nowadays, we are assessing different options in that direction. Regarding the second direction, bilateral negotiation. Of course, bilateral negotiation is something different. In that direction, developer or potential investor can identify the land on its own and come up with proposal that we have assessed, we have initial assessment. But for auction, Minister of Energy or state agency will provide the land. So we will provide the land, and the competition will be on specific one land. So it is like to get a commercial proposal regarding one project, dedicated area, and initial feasibility and initial information about the area. But for another direction, let's say potential investors have independence, and they can identify area, come back with the proposal, even if they have special offtake agreement with private sector or private consumer as well, because sometimes they come up with different types of framework how to sell the product, sell the production, let's say. That's why the main difference, as I mentioned, regarding the area, regarding approach, and regarding overall framework.
Thank you very much for the answers. So we have 5 more people in the line with questions. So let's start with Xarici.
Thank you very much, Stefan and Mr. Əmmayev, Təbriz Müəllim. Good afternoon. My name is Xarici. I'm the chairman of the board at German Azərbaycan Chamber of Commerce, and my other role relates to my work at the KPMG in Baku office. So very insightful, very interesting presentation. I also follow the information that is available in media, in public sources. So just using this opportunity, would like to clarify with you some matters. First, as I understand, the projects that have been mentioned today, they are done on the base of PPP model, right? Public-private partnership. In that regard, my first question is, currently there is one model that is stipulated in legislation, the BOT model, and that of course defines certain framework, and most importantly, it envisions the transfer of facilities at the end of the period. So the question is, Do you consider other PPP models as valid alternatives to BOT model that currently is in legislation? If so, is it typically negotiated separately, or we should expect some changes in legislation to expand the list of PPP models? And the second concerns the tariffs and the commercial structure. Of course, we know the regulation of this sector, and we know certain restraints in relation to the tariffs, and there are good reasons for that. So are the investors also allowed or encouraged to look at the export of energy in addition to orientation to the external local market? Or export of this energy is reserved for government companies? Thank you.
Thank you, Ferit Bey. Regarding the first question, yes, these projects are PPP projects and investment guarantee, 20 years, standard 20 years of take agreement, take or pay terms. Yes, and we consider, of course, it depends on the technical and commercial sensitiveness of the projects. Different types of PPP models could be considered, but again, it's really hard to say that definitely we will consider. Of course, subject to the successful realization of the projects, let's say successful realization of the projects with Aqua Power, Masdar, BP, we will see how the existing model works. Of course, we know that in international practice, we have lots of options that we can consider, and according to our legislation as well, that which option we have. But again, we can't nowadays say that we have only one option. Again, depends on the project, depends on the other factors around the projects, and subject to the further negotiation, I can say. Regarding the commercial tariffs, that's another very interesting question, and sometimes personally myself, I struggle to answer this question. Of course, we, how can I say, of course, sometimes to make the project more commercial feasible, a developer, let's say, came up with the proposal to sell some parts of the production to the private sector, so you consider export opportunities as well. We have been receiving this type of offers, this type of proposals. Of course, these options could be considered. We consider it definitely. Even some companies up until now came up with their solution about that they will change the electricity to the hydrogen ones. They consider exporting hydrogen, and of course they need to consult with relevant other stakeholders, grid operator or pipeline operator, etc. As time being, I can't say that this option is not allowed. Of course, we need to consider this one, and as I said, we have a huge potential in offshore. Even if we use 10% of this one, this is enough for the country. That's why, in case we are going to utilize this potential, we need to think about the export one.
Thank you very much. I guess the export topic will be crucial in the next years, since you have a look on how much energy Germany is needed in the respective industries. I guess each gigawatt is needed, at least in Germany. Other countries will have the same demand, but now we are here in a German-Azerbaijani context. So export topic is very, very crucial for the future. So next question from Ruslan Gafarov, please.
Good afternoon all. Do you hear me well?
We can hear you, yeah? If you would like, you can enable your video. If not, it's not a problem, but we can hear you well.
Unfortunately, no camera. My name is Ruslan Gafarov. I'm the co-founder of the Green Air startup. So first of all, thank you very much for having this session about the renewable energy development in Azerbaijan. I have 3 questions to the Mr. Əmmayev. They're short. So we'd like to hear the update about the biofuel and bioenergy development in Azerbaijan. My second question will be, does the Azerbaijan government only consider to utilize the renewable, conventional type of renewable energy projects, or we also pursue the cutting edge technology like the bladeless wind turbines or vertical axis wind turbines or transparent solar PVs? And my third question will be specifically for our company. Does the Azerbaijan government considers the products which can provide the independent energy sources for off-grid areas? Thank you very much.
Excuse me, could you please repeat the third question?
Third question, does the Azerbaijan government, I mean the B2G sector, considers the product which can provide the independent energy sources for off-grid areas? So they are working on the renewable energy principles.
Okay, let's start the first one regarding bioenergy and biofuel. As you said, sometimes we call solar and wind like conventional renewable energy. Of course, as you have seen from the slides, the first slide about the renewable energy potential, and the mainly solar and wind, and we believe that not only in our country, worldwide, solar and wind. Of course, we can't exclude hydro one as well. Yes, mainly we consider industrial scale projects with solar and wind, but it doesn't say that bio is somehow, let's say, second option. Of course not. Depends. Sometimes we have been receiving some proposals regarding bio as well. Not big capacity, but around 20-30 megawatt capacity. But again, this is our agenda, and we consider this perspective as well. In case of any proposal, any business idea, we are ready to sit and discuss. Biofuel as well, as you know that within the national priority nowadays we have been working on the development of social economic development strategy. There we consider, let's say, alternative fuels for transport sector, and in that direction, I believe that biofuel and the other bioproducts, let's say bioenergy, will be considered. Regarding the second question, I think I have already covered the second one. Oh,
I guess it's about high-tech technologies, bladeless wind turbines.
Yeah, that's
if
correct.
There's a special
yes,
program.
Thank you very much. All these type of high-tech technologies are being considered within green energy zone and liberated areas. There we believe that we will use, let's say, results of high technological development and we consider application of different high-tech renewable energy solutions. And this is another direction. In case any local company or international company that they have some proposal, we are ready, because it's very important for us to see. Of course, definitely every day, almost every day, we are exploring, let's say, technological development in the field of green energy. But any proposal from your side, you are more than welcome, and that would be our pleasure to see and to understand your view in that direction. Definitely, not only within green energy zone, but we will start with that area, but we will use the same experience across the country. And you know that green energy space as a national priority, as strategic objective, is not just for liberated areas, for the whole country. Regarding the B2G model, regarding independent production, we are considering this perspective as well, but this is at our analysis, our, let's say, view and assessment at infant stage, and we are trying to understand overall the framework, and we are trying to. That's why with other agencies and with the support of international organizations, we are considering different options that how we can further facilitate the deployment of renewable energy at small scale as well, not with just industrial scale projects. We have good proverb that drop we can make lake the same. That's why we are considering this perspective as well.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Əmmayev, we are a bit over the time, so 2 people are left here with questions. So I would suggest that we take Siavush Azarkov and Knut Erlend Rosvold for the last 2 questions. Please try to keep your questions short, not to stretch the time of Mr. Əmmayev too much. So please, Mr. Azarkov first.
Thank you very much. I also would like to thank Mr. Əmmayev for very interesting presentation. My question is somehow related to what Mr. Baumann mentioned in his presentation about hydrogen, production, and especially we know that the main competition now is for so-called green hydrogen. And if we take into account the facts that our neighbors, countries like Russia and Kazakhstan, now also do quite important steps in this respect. For example, I know that now Germany intensively negotiate with Kazakhstan about production of green hydrogen, about $10 billion Germany is ready to invest. And so in this case, what Azerbaijan does, and is some program under preparation, because we also have these pipelines, and probably in future hydrogen could be transferred to Europe. So do you know if government thinks about that, and what we could expect in nearest future? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azarkov. And shall we take the last question from Mr. Rosvold?
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yes, thank you very much for this. I'm representing Provitas in this meeting. Function Energy is a Norwegian company I'm working with, so in solar energy, and we're very interested about Azerbaijan and the potential expansion. Of course, I've been there now almost 10 years in the solar energy sector, starting with almost nothing to a place where actually business is growing. And at this point, we are experiencing the problem of skilled labor. Now, the biggest problem, I think, in Azerbaijan is to get enough people, skilled labor, skilled electricians, skilled workers to actually do this installation in a good way. This is a big challenge right now, and it should also be addressed in parallel with all these amazing projects. If not, you will have a graveyard of power stations within a decade. So how are you addressing this?
Thank you very much. Let's start with hydrogen question, and later on I will try to provide my view regarding this skill shortage or overall skill development, capacity building. In terms of hydrogen, yes, we have recently started to analyze, assess the market potential. You know that in order to have industry in place, we need to first start to analyze the local demand as well as export infrastructure, etc. So I will try to talk about the green hydrogen one, but anyhow, blue is in our consideration as well, under our consideration as well. And we have intergovernmental, the working group consists of different government bodies. Nowadays, we are assessing this potential and trying to identify export potential as well as pilot projects and local demand as well. So hydrogen is under consideration, of course, under consideration. And you know that SOCAR, as state oil company, has been assessing the potential of the existing pipeline infrastructure, about blending options and which part of the capacity could be used for hydrogen, exporting of hydrogen. And regarding the Renewable Energy Agency, we are doing our work in different lines. First of all, we are nowadays exploring the international practice, best practice, learning the experience of different companies as well as German companies as well. Sometimes we are holding some seminars, etc. As well as in addition to that, as I said, nowadays, so subject to the approvals for specific gates and procedures, let's say, we are almost about to start the study about the assessment of hydrogen potential of the country. And with IFC, this is another topic regarding the utilization of offshore wind potential. So overall, hydrogen perspective at this infant stage, but the speed is good, that we believe that in line with overall development, global development, worldwide development, we will use this potential as well. We have enough capacity in terms of, as I said, export infrastructure that we can not only produce hydrogen for local demand as well as export this one, which will further support the utilization of spare capacity of the pipelines, of course, gas pipelines. Regarding skill shortage, yes, this is another issue, and I think key component. And in case we have potential, we should have potential for human capital as well, human potential. Recently, you know that BP and Minister of Education have signed a MOU regarding the study abroad of Azerbaijani youth in order to learn and to have degree in the field of renewable energy. And as an agency, we have been cooperating with different high schools, or let's say universities. And nowadays, I believe that 3 or 4 universities that they are considering to open special degree program and for these purposes, as well as some vocational schools they consider to train electricians and other, let's say, even how we call it, roofers, yes, in the future, that roofers is who is in charge of rooftop PV installation, something like that, that they consider this perspective as well. But mainly, I believe that in order to achieve successful realization of any type of projects with the involvement or private sector as well as some, I don't know, state-sponsored green energy projects, we should bear in mind that skill to have local content and to have national content in terms of human capital, local labor resources is key element, and we have been working in that direction. But I believe that further support from, let's say, business community as well as educational universities are required.
Thank you very much, Mr. Əmmayev. So we are a bit over. Oh, so yeah, can you please?
Can I quickly comment?
Yeah, I don't know how much time Mr. Əmmayev has. So if he has already some minutes, it's fine.
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Please.
Yeah, just a big wish from our side is a vocational training, that you really look on vocational training. That's where you have the gap. It's vocational training. Like, we have a lot of skilled people that know a lot of stuff, but we need people that can do the works. So this is really my wish, and I think Germany has excellent system for vocational training that you can learn a lot from.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Erland, you are in this industry, especially in Azerbaijan, more than me, and you know almost gaps, etc. And thank you for your feedback and recommendation. Hereby, I kindly ask our colleagues here, our friends here, let's have another discussion about the vocational training and cooperation with the relevant units about how we can achieve synergy in this field. We would like to learn German experience in the field of renewable energy vocational training. Thank you, Mr. Erland. The good recommendation.
Thank you very much, first of all, Mr. Əmmayev, Mr. Gleisner, and of course all participants for, on the one hand, a very sound and deep presentation of the current status. Since your agency is rather a young one, more or less a year, you have a very, very huge package of work in front of you. You can see it, or you can see it here in the discussion. Very different topics, from regulation to skilled labor force, to off-takers, and so on and so forth. But having this agency, I guess, is a good news, because you have investors, companies, partners have a single window to where they know whom to approach for questions and for further discussions. So I guess that is very important, and not to lose time in searching for the right person to talk with. I guess that's the main message, I guess, we have today. And therefore, I would like to thank you for your time. If you don't mind, and if you have your consent, we will share the presentation you showed today, so that the people can have this information and your contact details as well. I guess some questions are left regarding the qualified workforce and how to tackle this topic. I guess AHK is in this field very active, and other things to become. Before I would like to close the session, maybe Mr. Baumann, you want to share the last word? You would like to?
I hope it's not my very last words, but thank you very much indeed for this very valuable input. We've seen a big progress, I think, in renewables over the last 3 years. Also now with a new law in operative, and insofar, I'm quite optimistic that we will see some development. So many desires, and not everything is fulfillable at the moment, but I see progress, and that is, I would say, the good news out of today's session. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And for those who celebrate Christmas, have a nice Christmas time. And if you shouldn't see until this, good start to 2022. Okay. Thanks. Thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.